Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how are you doing today? You've got a hat on, wearing it quite odd, might I add.
Is there a problem? I'm wearing a hat. You're wearing a hat.
I know it is. It's off to the side like that, though, Grumpy.
So I got sunburn on my ear. They keep it covered up.
Oh man. Anyway, how are you doing this fine Saturday afternoon, mid-afternoon, early evening? I don't know, Grumpy. We're going on a little bit of
It's afternoon.
An early
afternoon.
5:30 Eastern Standard Time is considered afternoon, not early evening.
No.
Okay, fair enough. I'll say this here, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is an all Islanders podcast that takes place you guessed it right, every single Saturday. For the most part, it's around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as a start time. I feel like it continues to get moved earlier and earlier. Right now, the lovely Paige she's working nights, so it's pretty much whenever she gets up and could spend some time there with her daughter. I got an hour or so blocked off where we can go ahead and do the show. So, today it's a little bit earlier, and it's going to be like that probably for next week also. So if you're new to the channel and you like the show, you like the content that we cover, you like the things that we discuss, make sure you do a few things for us. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. And again, make sure to like the video too. When you subscribe, you get notifications, you get updates, when we go live. If you like the video, it lets myself and Grumpy know that you like the content that we produce. It also apparently helps juice the algorithm. It helps get this podcast out to the masses. Hockey is coming up soon, Grumpy. Rookies report here. I think it's next week, this upcoming week, or coming
Tuesday.
up here.
I think Tuesday.
Exactly. So we're gonna get some hockey content back in our lives here very soon. You talk about preseason is just a few weeks away. The start to the NHL regular season happens early this October. So it's gonna start gearing back up. So again, if you like the show, again, just a general reminder, subscribe on YouTube. We also have a Facebook and a Twitter page too, but YouTube's probably the best place to watch it, at least to have the experience. Now, I also will add one more piece of general housekeeping. We also do have a all sports podcast that takes place every single Sunday, and that's also around there about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But right now it'll be a little earlier. It's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. You can find that in the link in the description below, or as a featured page here on our YouTube channel. And that's a show where myself, the Grumpy Old Man, and the magnificent Son X, we just talk anything and everything sports. So we talk NBA, we talk MLB, we talk NHL, we talk European football, we talk college athletics, we talk NFL, we talk anything and everything sports on that show. So if you haven't checked that one out yet, make sure to give it a little listen. It's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It can be found in the link in the description below or as a featured page here on our YouTube channel. Whew. So all of the housekeeping now completed. Rookies report here on Tuesday, Grump. We kind of talked a little bit about, who we're hoping to see good production from and performance from out of rookies and kind of what we're expecting here from training camp on that side. I know that we wanted to go ahead and also we talked a little bit about some of the better case scenarios for the Islanders, some of the worst case scenarios for the Islanders. But there was on the 32 Thoughts podcast there by Elliot Friedman, Grumpy. They dropped a little bit of a 32 Thoughts. Exactly. They dropped a little bit of a nugget there regarding Sorokin. Remember, all year last year, people were complaining about the play of Ilya Sorokin. Oh, he's not playing as well as he needs to. This is just not Sorokin. This isn't good play. And I thought he played fine. I thought he was decent all year long. I didn't have an issue with his play. The issue was not goaltending for us last year. Simple as that. And now, did you have a chance to listen to the 32 Thoughts podcast, Grumpy, that one I sent you, the link?
First of all, you did not send me a link to listen to that at all. You did not. Don't even somebody like you did.
Or somebody else sent you a link. I know you got a link, Grumpy.
I did not get a link that I listened to. Here's what happened. You can go ahead, play it.
I'll play it. I'll let us listen. Now, this is from, again, 32 Thoughts. I'll listen to it. And this is Rob went ahead and clipped this. So thanks there, Rob, for this. Let's listen.
One thing that I'm kind of wondering about here, and, obviously it's tough to tell in the offseason. We'll see. I think Sorokin's been battling something. And they have a great combination of Varlamov and Sorokin. The Islanders are obviously very private. Lamoriello is obviously very private. But I heard that Sorokin's been battling something. I don't know how serious it is or isn't. The agent won't say anything out of respect to Lamoriello. I sent a note to the Islanders. They won't say anything. We'll see where this goes. But that's the one thing I've kind of heard about the Islanders that might be something to look into at the start of the year. One thing that...
So a few things there on that, Grumpy. Sounds like, again, as he said, Elliot Friedman mentioned, Sorokin's been battling some sort of injury. They don't know the severity thereof it. And it's something to look at the beginning of the season. Now, not shocked at all to hear that news release that he has been battling some sort of injury. Now, at the end of that clip, it sounds like he may miss some time or that they don't know the severity and that this could impact the beginning of the season for Sorokin. Did you take that the same way I did?
I think he's injured.
Yeah.
When did he get injured? How did he get injured? I don't understand the secrecy when it comes from the Islanders. I just don't get it. I mean, if something is wrong, if something's wrong with the player, why are you not telling the fans? Season ticket package has gone out already. I mean, what's just not going to be there on opening night? Not going to show up to training camp? It's like, did they think they can just hide him in a room for a couple of months? I don't know. I know it's worked in some places, but I doubt it's going to work with these New York Islander fans. That's for certain.
Well, I don't, they always do this. This is just how Lou runs that's how Lou wants things done. It's just secrecy. Nothing ever gets out. Oh, I broke my wrist and I've got a broken wrist. Oh, well, maybe he'll be back. He's going to miss a little bit of time, but we'll think he'll be back and he'll be able to fully recover. Like, you couldn't just say, oh yeah, when he collided in with the boards, he broke his wrist and he's going to miss about 6 to 12 weeks. Like, you couldn't get, like, what are we so fearful of? And I'm like, I've never understood it. I never will understand it unless it makes the organization look bad. I understand it at that point. Like, for example, you remember maybe last year, Sorokin played 17 games in a row. Do you remember when Lane Lambert was still coach before Lou fired Lane and brought in Patrick Waugh? There was a 17-game stretch to where Sorokin played every single game. I think Varlamov was a little banged up at that time period too, but I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, How long has he been battling this injury? Has it been like, I assume it's maybe like a nagging injury, something that was not severe enough where it's like, hey, I could still get out there and skate. I could still get out there and play the position, but it was obviously hindering my ability to play. I don't know, makes you think a little bit. You know, he played 17 games in a row last year. We were talking about fatigue. We were talking about maybe just, again, he's not playing the same way. He's not making fantastic saves, but I still like the performance he's putting out there on the ice. So obviously he was hurt. I look at it probably last year during the season, and I wonder if it's going to carry over and build into maybe early this year.
Would it make you feel better if it was as you think, where he was hurt during the season last year? Will it make you feel better going into the season? Regarding, who knows what the injury is?
But we have an inkling, we know, but we could think about, it's like he's banged up in some capacity. It's not like, oh, I tore my groin, right? Like, it's not something like that. It's something where it was like, okay, gotcha. This is something that bothered you a little bit enough to where, you needed time to recover, but not enough where I couldn't skate. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not able to move. So we know, like, it's not ultra severe, but in the same token, it's not like it's nothing, if that makes sense.
Well, we don't know. Well, we do know, but we don't know. So
just based off of what Elliot Freeman said, right? Like, it's not like, oh man, hey, we had to announce, Sorokin hasn't been able to skate all offseason long, and we're not. Well, who the hell knows? With the Islanders, for all we know, we could come to camp and he's not even able to skate. And he's like, hey, he's going to miss the first 3 months of the season because that's the guys that they operate under. And they may just say, hey, he's going to miss some time at the beginning of the year with no sort of context. So honestly, who the hell knows?
Okay, well, let's say that he didn't sprain an elbow during.
He rolled his elbow.
Or, roll an ankle, doing dry land work in the off season.
He was pulling another SUV with Shesterkin, and he went ahead and gave himself a hernia. Who the hell knows?
Would it make you feel better if it was an injury going for this season for the Islanders, and let's say he's 100% healthy? Would it make you feel better about the Islanders' chances if he was hurt in season last year?
Oh, jeez.
I would say yes.
Maybe a little bit, but in the same token, no. Because, okay, if he was hurt in season, they knew about this, and they rode the shit out of him while he was hurt.
Yeah, okay.
You don't utilize it. The problem I have, and it's always been the problem, they only care about the short-term success. You've signed this goalie to an 8-year contract. If he was battling a nagging injury that could continue to get worse, let's say it's like, hey, like certain injuries like, oh gosh, like my knee or something like that, or like my quad, right? Like, okay, I've got a strained quad, or I've got something wrong with my quad, right? A muscle bounces back. Certain things like cartilage, ligament, certain things, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Certain things bounce back better than others. And all I'm going to say is this: if you continue to put him out there, and this is one of these type of injuries that's like, oh, hey, it doesn't bounce back immediately. That bothers me that you rode him all last year knowing he was hurt. Because I don't think this is just like a magical, hey, I went into the offseason, we went a test, and oh gosh, the first day of the offseason, we found out, oh, Sorokin's actually been battling an injury. The team doctors know the severity and they knew the injury, so they were rolling him out there. I'll be interested to know when. That's more what I'm interested in, is when did he get hurt and how long did they use and abuse Sorokin? That's the real question. As long as you bounce back from it, I do think it means good news for right now for the Islanders, because Sorokin will be playing at that all-star caliber, Vezina caliber goalie that Islander fans know and love so much. But the problem that I maybe have is you sign him to an 8-year deal, right? Like, we're going to be fans for more than 1 or 2 years. So what are we going to see? Is this something that's going to impact his career because you used his body up and you just made him continue to play as a goalie, continue to play injured?
Okay. So
I think it could be good, could be bad. I know you're watching the TV, so it's tough, Grumpy, but
no, it was a really simple question, and you went on a 5-minute diatribe. I said, would you feel better about the Islanders' chances this year if it was something that
this year? Yes.
Okay.
You asked me, would I feel better about the Islanders if that was the case? The answer is long-term, no. Short-term, yes.
So you would, because that's my answer. Yes, I would feel better. For everyone to say, well, Sorokin wasn't as good last year. Well, if he had some type of injury in season, that could explain why he was not superhuman like he was the previous year, and that would be a harbinger of maybe good things coming ahead for this season. That's my perspective on it.
In the short term, yes, I
I'm
agree.
not talking about the organization playing him through an injury or something like that, because it might. And here's the thing, we don't know exactly what it was, but let's say it was something that the doctor said, well, it's going to cause you discomfort, but it's not anything that can get worse. If it's something like that, well, then you ride your goalie,
The
right?
only time when things like that happen, and now it can't get worse, is if you've torn something or you've done something so bad to where it can't get worse. So just tough through the pain.
Or if it's
That's probably not what he had.
Yeah, but if it's it was just a pain management thing, then okay, well, he just had to manage the pain. I'm not saying it was optimal. It didn't matter anyway, and it doesn't matter this year either, to be honest with you. But if he's back 100% and playing like Sorokin of 2 years ago, I think that's good news for the Islanders.
I think so too.
Because I don't think our defense and the system that Patrick Waugh espouses is as defensively sound as the Barry Trotz, Lane Lambert system. So he's going to have to stand on his head a little bit. And if he was a little bit injured last year, I still think he can still be that goaltender going forward.
On the organization side, I think it makes us look inept. And it's just consistent. It's the consistent disregard for the long term of the team and the organization, but the prioritization of short term success. That is a problem. I think it's always been a problem that I've had with the organization under Lou Lamoriello. And if that's the case, where he was injured at the tail end of last year and they still rode the shit out of him, that's a problem, man. Because certain injuries, you're right, maybe they don't impact you. You recover in an off season, you're all good to go. Some injuries aren't like that. And sometimes you push, like, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but sometimes you push yourself so far and it's an injury that continues to degenerate and it's going to affect your long-term ability to be healthy. Hope it's not one of those.
Well, he certainly sat out a lot of games down the stretch.
If Varlamov was so great, why didn't we just roll him? And if that was so great to have that 1-2 punch, we should, with Sorokin injured, I assume if he was injured at the end of the year, that's how this sounded. Didn't sound like Elliot Friedman was like, man, he did some box jumps and rolled his ankle and he had to have ankle surgery or something like that. That's not how this sounded. That sounded like he was dealing with a nagging injury all year last year, is the way that this context sounded, but he wanted to be, somewhat mysterious with how he announced it, to be respectful to, Lou, the organization, because they kept everything tight. But I don't know, Grump. Why did they not just run Varlamov the tail end of the year?
I don't, because Varlamov's not as good a goalie as even an injured Sorokin.
What? You're trying to tell me the Lamanites who were telling me Varlamov was better than Sorokin all year last year, and he's not?
Well, he's not. So I guess I didn't get the same thing that you got out of it. I don't know that it was last year. I'm just thinking that maybe it was.
It's 40 seconds. We can listen to it one more time. That's okay, but I'll let you finish your point.
I just think that the biggest issue I have are the Islanders not just telling people what's going on. I just think it's bad for you. You should keep your fan base informed. I just think you should, because then you get morons like us coming out here and just thinking the worst. And you don't come straight with us. Just be straight with the people.
Unless it's an injury that there's no way he should have been playing on and they were forcing him to play. And it's not like one of those injuries where it's like, oh, hey, this is a little bit of a hip flexor strain. You can work through it and you'll be fine after the end of the season. Unless this is one of these where it's like, this is something that has long-term implications. I don't know. Let's listen. I'll listen one more time to Elliot Friedman. Let's go ahead and listen to this just so we can go ahead and put that on the same page and we'll move on.
I'm kind of wondering about here. And, obviously it's tough to tell in the off season. We'll see. I think Sorokin's been battling something, and they have a great combination of Varlamov and Sorokin. The Islanders are obviously very private. Lamoriello is obviously very private, but I heard that Sorokin's been battling something. I don't know.
So really quickly, been battling something. That means, in my opinion, he's still battling something, right? We agree on that? He's been battling something. That means something's still bugging him, right?
Perhaps.
Okay.
I like I said, he's kind of really vague.
I think there's a reason for the vagueness.
Okay. But I mean, he's as vague as can possibly be.
I think he
He
knows what
thinks
it is,
that
but nobody hasn't been
possibly-
able to confirm what he knows or what he's been told.
He thinks that possibly he's been battling something. He doesn't say when, he doesn't say how long, he doesn't say if it's been rectified. He doesn't say anything really. Just kind of, you know what he did? He took a hand grenade and he threw it into the Islanders bunker. That's what he did.
That's true. That's true. He did. But the one thing is, okay.
Islander fans, Sorokin, whoop, whoop, whoop. He's battling something. I don't know what it is.
Battling something.
Maybe he's had a cold.
I don't know. He's been. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I do. Okay. Elliot Freeman doesn't usually just come out there and say, I'm just pontificating on something to shoot the shit. That's not how that is for him. His entire career is made based off of how accurate he is with what he reports.
Agreed.
So for him to be saying something like that,
but he's not saying anything. He's saying,
I think he knows what the issue is, because I think he knows what the issue is, but I think he's being purposely vague because it hasn't been confirmed, or he wants to protect. So could you imagine, right? He mentions, the agent didn't say anything to me. What happens if somebody else said something?
Somebody did say something.
Exactly. And he doesn't want to go ahead and bury Johnny told me this was the case. That's a good way to get the way Lou does his stuff. Whoosh, excommunication. You're freaking gone. That's how Lou operates. So I'm like, I don't know if he has to be purposely vague on this because Lou Lamoriello's involved. That's what I wonder.
Well, I don't see. Lou doesn't give anybody any information anyway. What the hell does it matter if you burn that bridge?
Somebody else gave him the
That's a short ass bridge because he ain't gonna be here long.
Lou, you're gone. You're fired. Anyway, let's listen to the rest. There's 20 seconds left.
Know how serious it is or isn't. The agent won't say anything out of respect to Lamoriello. I sent a note to the Islanders. They won't say anything. We'll see where this goes, but that's the one thing I've kind of heard about the Islanders that might be something to look into at the start of the year.
Okay, so the start of the year, that means, still battling something. And guess what? If Sorokin was fine and healthy, why would the Islanders just say, he's fine and healthy? What are you fucking on about? They wouldn't be like, we're not going to comment on that at this time period. Hey, Sorokin's agent, how is he doing? Is he healthy right now? I can't comment out of respect for Lou Lamoriello at this time period. That means something's going on, and he knows what's going on. He just hasn't had it confirmed by the sources yet.
Maybe Lou is still on vacation in the beaches of Vivid, Delaware, sitting on the beach, and his season doesn't start until it starts. For me, if something is truly was wrong with him, I would just expect a little bit of transparency from the organization. I really don't think that's asking too much. When a guy's hurt, he's hurt. When was the last time you heard from Lamoriello?
Like when Scott Mayfield rebroke his foot, they didn't release that information until like months later.
I just like,
they knew that happened. They knew when they hit him with an x-ray, they're like, that bone is not supposed to look like that. Like, they didn't release that until months later.
Yeah,
What's the point of that? Were you expecting him to have some quick healing foot growth to where it's like, oh man, we got to keep this under? We got to keep every team on guard because maybe we're going to throw Mayfield out there. They're going to have the game plan for Mayfield. Well, after fucking 10 or 15 games of not playing, they're not too concerned about Mayfield coming back on the ice.
I'm not saying you have to be Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just comes out and just tells you, just flat out tell you. Yeah.
I love that. I wish my freaking GM and the head coach would be like that. I'd love it.
I'm not saying they have to be like that, but I mean, if you're looking for competitive advantage, okay, in season, perhaps I could see it. This is off season. Wouldn't you like to know going into the season if everyone's going to be healthy? Shouldn't you just tell the fan, okay, so-and-so had some little injury. He's been rehabbing all summer. He had surgery, whatever. Wouldn't you like to know that?
Sorokin's been battling a neck injury and had neck surgery. He's going to miss the first 5 months of the season. Whoa, ticket says, who knows? But like some sort of transparency would be nice as a fan. And I think that absolutely Elliot Freeman, he's definitely battling an injury. I think that somebody had given him information that hasn't been verified enough to his liking at this point to say, hey, I've heard that X, Y, and Z happened to Sorokin. I asked the Islanders for a comment. They said at this time period they didn't want to comment.
No, they just didn't even respond.
The agent said out of respect for Lou Lamoriello, he wouldn't comment on it. That means that something is definitely, he's battling something.
Yeah, I think something's wrong. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just like, why is the agent covering for Lamoriello? He doesn't have to worry about Sorokin signing another deal there with Lamoriello.
Lamoriello will be dead by then. He'll be 91 years old. He won't be in charge of the GM. He'll be 91. He'll be well past the average age of U.S. life expectancy for a man, or he'll be out of the GM spot.
Isn't he already past that?
Yeah, but at 91, he won't be a GM for the Islanders, long story short, at 91 years old. So I don't really care.
I hope that, because that's another decade of incompetence.
Well, I guess here's the thing, though, too. The agent represents other players, and he doesn't want to say, great, now we have one area here where the Islanders, when Lou Lamoriello's here, will never trust me, and they won't want to sign our players or sign the players I represent. That is truthful, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, his job is to make sure every single team, all 32 teams, he can make sure he best represents his client for. So,
I agree. I just, for the life of me, I don't understand where it benefits the Islanders in this instance. I just don't see it.
Yeah. There's definitely something going on. Some people are like, oh, man, the grenade, like you mentioned a grenade. I like the analogy, but I do think there's absolutely some validity behind what Elliot Freeman said. That's all.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
I do want to go ahead and show you this, Grumpy. Northwell is going to be teaching us a little bit about sports science, including some Islanders, Grumpy. We're going to see some Islanders of old that are going to be helping out with Northwell, teaching the sports science behind things, Grumpy. And I want you to watch this clip, and I'll just get your opinion.
Okay. Oh, what the hell?
Okay, we don't need that course. Thomas Hickey
there.
Do you think, okay, question for you, right? Because we see Johnny Boychuk works with the team. Josh Bailey out there. Is Josh Bailey going to find his way to working for the organization in some capacity? I wouldn't be shocked. There's Corey Schneider, Thomas Hickey, Josh Bailey, Grumpy.
Kevin Connolly.
Oh, man. Could we see Josh?
He was on Entourage. He's like one of the biggest Islander fans from celebrity land.
Yeah.
Him, Ralph
He was sticking up big time for Charles Wong back when or maybe that was Mosh. I don't remember who it was. I think it was him who was sticking up for
he's a Lamanite. He is. It's all right. It's, you know what? Here's the thing. Celebrity fan of your team is probably a good thing.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not like we got a whole lot of them. So
gotta take him where we can get him.
I think probably Katie Ledecky is an Islander fan, right?
Yeah, I wish they need to start carting her around more often, especially after she won a whole bunch of those Olympic medals. Everybody's seen her in the summertime. Start carting her around extra.
Just have her just put like a tank of water on the ice and just have her swim around like a fish,
like a dolphin. Throw pucks in the water. No,
anyway. Have her catch them in her teeth and spit them to the fans. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Anyway, Josh Bailey, I figured you get a kick out of that there, Grump.
I mean, seriously though, who are the three? Who would you say? I'm going to say, well, those are probably the three biggest celebrity fans: is Kevin Connolly, Ralph Macchio, and the Karate Kid. Cobra Kai, last season coming up.
That I was about to say, I know them, and the other one, as I know, people because they hate her. Ann Coulter is an Islander fan. When she goes to the games, they hate her because they post about it on social media all the time.
Oh, well, there's four then. I didn't know she was a fan. And Katie Ledecky. I think Katie Ledecky.
One who's in Kick-Ass as well. The female protagonist in Kick-Ass is an Islander.
Chloe something Moritz?
I don't know. I just remember.
There's five. There you go.
You've got five.
Okay, there's five. More. I think it's fair to say
Zach Wilson is a big Islander fan. He went to a few of the games. That big old lineman who was ripping beers over there in the stands. I don't know that.
We're not okay. We'll see. There's more than I thought, but let's just say that really not A-list celebrities. Not like we got Tom Cruise flying in and saying, "Hey, I'm an Islander fan," right? Or we don't have Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Doggy Dogg.
So we don't, so whoever I don't know, or Taylor Swift isn't flying in for Islander games. She's going to Chiefs games still, or at least till the end of September. Anyway, when their breakup happens, as in the written contract.
Oh man. Well, let's do this, Grumpy. Let's get into our ad read here real quick. We're going to get through some comments. X, of course, didn't show up on the job per typical Son X fashion.
He was arguing about college football today. He's ridiculous. It's hard to talk to him.
Yeah.
He's so crazy. He liked playing. He was an athlete back in the day, but he wasn't
athlete X.
But not someone who, religiously stayed there and watched all the sports all the time. But in the last year or so he has, and is almost like, it's like teaching a child, when you first get into sports, you're like so into it. Your team is he'd be a great Islander fan, honestly, if he really loved hockey. He'd be a Lamanite. He would. Everything would be.
Would? Yeah, dude, he would. He'd be bitching and moaning about penalties not being called. He'd be bitching and moaning about infractions, elbows up, like they screwed us over. The Islanders should have won the cup. If we would have won Game 7 against Tampa, he would be a Lamanite.
That's right. He'd be a Lamanite, without a doubt. And because that's the way he is with all the other sports. It's like every time the officials, I'm like, dude, chill out.
Tell me that wouldn't be better though if we had him on the show and he was a Lamanite all the time.
Oh my God,
it'd be like having Phil on the podcast every.
We have to get. I did have a conversation with Phil this week, and we do need to do an episode with him. Even if
I've done a very poor job as a host of this show, reaching out and getting individual. Well, it's just tough right now because like when we go live, it's like literally on the spur of a moment where it's like I call up Grumpy. I'm like, hey. In 10 minutes, are you good to go live? I don't even know what you're doing. I'm like, oh, great. The lovely Paige woke up. I'm like, I've got about an hour that I could go ahead and do on the show before I take back over dad duty. So it's just like tough right now to get guests on the show. It's only for, another few weeks, but then we'll have maybe some more continuity. We'll have some guests. I promise. I make these promises all season long.
We're not having any guests.
We're going to do it Saturday guests. What do you mean no guests? We could do. Come on, Grumpy.
And people asking why I'm wearing the hat. It's because my hair is all messed up because I didn't,
Whoa, Grumpy, put that thing back on.
But I didn't, usually I make sure everything looks good for the show. I put, but TJ called me. He's like, hey, we're doing a show in 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a chance to redo my hair. So, me and the warden just hanging out here. There was no reason for me to,
spruce yourself
the hair
up.
down, put the product in there or anything like that. But when I wore the hat like this, look at this. Look how bad this looks. I look like TJ. I mean, I got no freaking hair up top and that's what I look like. Look at this. How bad is that?
Here's the thing. It's an Islander hat. Okay. This is an Islander hat, Grumpy. I mean, I guess it's really small to see, but I didn't want to put the flat brim because then I'd have to listen to the flat brim on the front. You'd be bitching and moaning about that. So I put it backwards. All right.
Always wear your hats backwards.
Not always. Not always. The ones with curved, I wear to the front. And the ones with not the curve, I wear like this to the back. They're snapback hats, Grump.
Okay. Whatever.
Anyway.
I'm not going to argue with you. It's not worth my time and effort, honestly.
Not worth my time and effort either. Okay. Let's get to the ad read. Today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. NFL Week 1 is here, and the new season means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. If you're ready to place your first bet, are you ready to place your first bet? Should be the question. Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown, right? You could have said, I'm expecting Saquon Barkley to score a touchdown or Xavier Worthy. Picking a player to score a touchdown like that. Very easy and simple. You could pick, team that wins a game. I'm expecting the Giants to lose week 1. You could do anything like that. You can add a whole bunch of bets on the same game or bets in different games to increase a parlay for an even larger payout. There's a lot of fun ways to do it if you like gambling. But if you're ready to do your touchdown dance of your own, that's the real question. When you win on DraftKings, you could feel kind of excited about it. But score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download our DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code THPN. Again, that's promo code THPN for new customers to get a $250 in bonus bets when you just bet $5 and you get 1 month of NFL Plus premium on us only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at NFL.com/terms.
Isn't that nice, Grumpy? That they pre what is that, Grump?
Oh, they pre-did that?
Yeah, they did. And I just like, oh great. I'm like, I don't have to worry about reading 8778, whatever it is for Connecticut and Hope NY. I don't have to worry about reading any of that crap anymore.
You know what I thought it was? I thought maybe it was your voice just sped up, like twice the speed. You know something? If you listen to Elliot Friedman, it almost seems like he's a 45 record being played on 33. Do you even know what that means?
What the fuck does that mean?
Okay. In the comments, I want people to explain to him the difference between a 45 and a 33. It's revolutions per minute. Singles were 45 revolutions per minute.
Oh, so you're playing on pretty much like 1.3 times speed.
LPs, long playing albums, were 33 revolutions per minute. And the fact that you didn't know that, the difference of 45, which are singles, and a 33 are the albums, but that's what it's like. It's like Elliot Friedman is like a 45 record played on 33. He needs
to slow down. He put it on playback speed of 0.5.
If
it's for YouTube,
just did it a little bit faster, his show would end much sooner.
He's got an hour of time to fill, though, Grump.
Well, 32 thoughts, 2 minutes a pop. I mean, I don't know. And there's ads in there too. So
Grumpy, pointed by Curtis says here, who has the most unexpected underwhelming / breakout season for the Islanders? I'll let you answer these and I'll be right back, Grump.
Who has the most unexpected, underwhelming breakout season? Unexpected, underwhelming. Is that both? I think underwhelming, it might be JG Pajot. I think unexpected, maybe Anders Lee bounces back in some way, shape, or form. I mean, maybe that's just the case. I don't know. I'm just going to do the comments from the top. Matthew S. says, whoa, thought you were taking off for weeks. Yeah, well, like I said, it works for TJ. I'm always available. So he just gives me a shout. It's like, hey, let's do a show. I'm like, okay, let's do it. 2 weeks ago from now, we will definitely not be having a show. Ponyborg says, TJ, serious question, because I know he's the one with these answers, not Grump. Honest estimation, how much have you made from the ad revenue and YouTube views in the last 3 years of the podcast? Nothing. A pittance. Honestly, a pittance. Not much. Matthew S. says, what's with the look? I think you're talking about the hat. I just explained that. Ponyboy says, you a real God, Ponyboy, come on, man. You a real one if you can let us know the actual numbers for let the people know. Yikes. Matthew DiBernardo says, what's up, boys? Ready to be underwhelmed by the Islanders team this year? Hopefully, we see some draft assets for Nelson, Palmieri, and Riley at the deadline. The next two drafts are stocked. I think that's best case scenario.
It's funny. On Bleacher Report, they came out with an article talking about who are the 10 most likely players that are going to be traded at some point in time during the season. And the Islanders had Wahlstrom and Brock Nelson on that list.
Wahlstrom.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Guys,
he has no value, but I'm like, I'd love to see 3 Islanders on the list. Kyle Palmieri, Wahlstrom, sure, and see you later, Brock Nelson. All 3 of those guys.
Mike Riley.
Well, Riley, 2 years
at
$1 million is not bad.
Pierre Engvall.
The Engvall's not going to be moved, Grumpy. They're talking about guys who are going to be moved this year during the season. Yeah,
everybody.
I'll answer the question. Who will have the most unexpected, underwhelming / breakout season? Underwhelming season. I know, Grumpy. Who did you pick there?
Pajot potentially.
Most underwhelming season. I could see via fans. I want to say Dobson. The reason being is I think the expectations for him by the fan base are so high. If Dobson comes out and puts up 45 points or 50 points because they want him to be more defensively responsible and worry less about offensive production, the fan base would flip a shit because they're like, oh, man, he got 72 points. That's the expectation for him now. Oh, man, he went from 72 to 50. Oh, we shouldn't give him a big contract at all. Maybe $6 million. I could see the fan base being very easily swayed.
You're expecting him to be underwhelming this year? That's the question.
For the expectations of the fans, who I'm expecting to be underwhelming, Varlamov. I think Varlamov's going to, at one point or another.
He's a backup. He's a backup. A backup can't be underwhelming just because of the description of his title. He's a freaking backup.
Guess what?
Backup.
If Sorokin has to miss some time at the beginning of the year and they're going to have to rely upon Varley.
He's a backup.
And they're going to have to rely upon Varley to be the main guy for 2 or 3 months.
A backup cannot be underwhelming. He's a backup.
If you've been moved into starter role because your starter's injured, well, then you're the starter, Grump.
He's a backup.
I don't know. Underwhelming. There's a lot of candidates. Breakout season. Sorokin is already fantastic, but I could see Sorokin if he truly did have an injury last year and he got healthy this offseason or maybe misses a little bit of time, but he returns back healthy after a month or something. I expect him to return back to form is what I'm expecting there from Sorokin.
I said maybe Anders Lee.
I like that one too. That's not bad.
He's been so bad for so long. Anything is an improvement.
Pony McCurdy says here, boys, who are the top 3 most overrated or over and underpaid players on the roster? Overpaid, right? Anders Lee. Would you say Pierre Engvall? Pierre Engvall probably at this point.
I mean, not that, okay, he only makes $3 million a year, but the fact he's got 6 years left on that deal.
Yeah.
And Simon Holmstrom's got to be the other one.
No. Overpaid, I'm going to give it to Pellick. At this point,
okay.
Underpaid Dobson just for what he produces, what we're seeing there on the ice. I still think, even though I think Brock Nelson's on the wrong side of 30, I think Brock Nelson's underpaid for his production on the ice, and that's fine. I'm happy with that. And then, as much as I probably am not the biggest fan of him, I'd say, right, probably. I'd say probably Romanoff, right?
I was going to say Kyle McClain. Oh, Casey Zizekas. Or Kyle McClain.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like Romanoff is still, he's going to be the top pairing defenseman. I'm like, you're getting paid still on, a very, very minimal contract. Yeah, like, he's probably worth a lot more than he's getting paid. Even though I'm not a huge fan of his play all the time, he's still worth more out there in the open market than what he's getting paid.
That's fair.
Freedom Fund Adventure, Grump.
TJ, how you doing, big guy? I want to apologize for making fun of you in the past. I had no idea you had such a tragic and horrible childhood with no happy memories. Did the warden call you after the show?
Yeah, she didn't give me a call after the show. I don't really remember a lot from my childhood.
What a loser. I'm astonished.
I know what's going on now. That's all it is. Who would win in arm wrestling, Sun X or TJ? I'd kill Sun X. I might snap his little bone.
Okay, next.
Disagree, Grumpy?
No, you'd probably beat him in arm wrestling contest.
Oh,
he's got a lot more weight behind him.
That's true. Freedom Fund Adventure says, Freeman reporting that Sorokin currently has an injury. That's the same way I took it too, but Grumpy didn't. Yes, I think he's still banged up, nagging injury. I wonder if it's the offseason or did he have surgery after the season finished? I don't know. Here's the thing. It's not like, I was training in the offseason and rolled my ankle, and now I've got a swollen ankle. It's not like that. So I'm thinking he got injured probably last year. Was it beginning of the season, midpoint of the season, end of the season? The Islanders franchise probably knew about it. And how long did they ride him like a horse and beat the living shit out of him, playing him every single night? Because, hey, we got to try to make the postseason to get our asses kicked by Carolina. Let's go ahead and continue to tear down our goalie who's on an 8-year contract. Let's go ahead and beat his body up early so when he's 35, 36, and 37, he's completely shot and we're still paying him $8 million a year. Let's do that. That's what I mean by it. I'm pissed off if that was a severe injury.
Hopefully it's not a body part that could come back to haunt him. That's all I'll say.
Things that you don't want, like necks, right? Like you're thinking about things like that where it's just like they don't. It's not like, oh man, my neck gets better, my back gets better, my groin gets better. Things like that don't get better. If it's like, oh, I've got my hip flexor, whatever. You tough through it, you'll find you'll be okay.
Unless it's one of those
for my shoulder, that's fine. You'll recover from that, no problem. But there's certain body parts you don't really recover from well.
I think hips are bad for goalies too.
Hips too, yes, absolutely. Hips are another one too. Hopefully it wasn't like, oh, I've got a hip and it's something wrong with my socket and I had to, I don't
I'm gonna have to have that resurfacing thing. I'm gonna be Tuukka Rask out there.
Oh my God. I had to have my hip labrum surgery coming up and then my career. Yeah, you don't want that. Anyway, moving along here. Would you take a cheap flyer on Nick Robinson from Toronto? He's, awaiting a trade out of town, an elite shooter and a fantastic skater, very fast.
I would.
Yeah, but I think that we don't have probably what they're asking for.
Maybe Wallstrom for him. If Toronto has no interest in Nick Robertson,
we're going to waive Wallstrom. Why would anybody trade for a guy that we're going to waive in a few weeks?
I'm just saying there's a possibility that, you could just flip assets. No problem with that.
Who would win in a fight, Dog Z or Phil's Fax? Yeah, Phil's Fax would probably bludgeon Dog Z.
First of all, it's dog. He put Dog X, but it is Dog Z.
I corrected it because I knew what he meant.
Dog Z, he's a lover. He's a lover. He's not a fighter.
Phil's Fax. I don't think Phil has a violent bone in his body though either.
Yeah, I think the dog would take down Phil. if Phil was wearing milk bone underwear, watch out, Phil.
Milk bone underwear. God almighty. Okay. Doug R said here, I know I came across here as very negative towards the current team. Can you please help give a serious reason why things will be positive? Is having Wall a full year it? How about Duclair or Maxim Saplakov? They don't do it for me.
Maybe Sorokin was injured last year during the season, and he's totally bounced back, and he's going to be the Sorokin of 2 years ago when he was better 2 years ago.
Yes, and it's just something where it's just like, I had a muscle fatigue in a certain area.
Yeah.
Okay, you wouldn't still be dealing with that 3 months into the offseason, so never mind. But yes, I think the only thing that could be positive is if it's not a severe thing, they were able to get surgery, fix it up, and it was not a severe body part that impacts them long term. And Sorokin starts playing like Sorokin of 2 years ago is right, and he finishes top 3 in Vezina voting because that does absolutely help our team's success for this season, no doubt about that.
Right, and the only concern for me in that regard is Elliot Friedman seems to make it sound like it's still a problem.
That is the issue I had with it too, but it means like, ooh, that's probably severe. And I wonder if they did permanent damage. Seriously, because if you're injured at last year, you're battling a nagging injury and it's still bugging you now 3 years into the offseason, 3 months into the offseason, that's a problem. The Islander season ended in May. I'm sorry. Now we're talking 4 months and ended early May. We're now in September. If he still has a nagging injury bothering him 4 months afterwards of no Islanders activity, that is absolutely a problem. So anyway, a real deal prime says here the Islanders roster is too slow. They're going to miss the playoffs. Maybe, probably.
They'll be battling for the final playoff spot.
If Sorokin has to miss a month or two at the beginning of the season, I look at it like, yeah, it changes my opinion on us. Our chances, we're going to be in the same spot we always are, well behind out of a playoff spot. We're going to have a Herculean effort at the end of the season to try to force our way in. But then at that point, you're trading away Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri on expiring deals. So maybe this Sorokin nagging injury could be a blessing in disguise, Grumpy.
I think it's imperative that they move Nelson and Palmieri at the deadline.
Yes. I think it's easier to move them at the deadline when the team is struggling, if they are, because you're playing with that number one goalie. But Curtis said here, if somebody had a gun to your head, what are the Metro standings in January? Okay, halfway through the year, I'm going to say they're almost identical to what they're going to be at the end of the season. I'm thinking it's going to be the Rangers at 1. Yeah, no, crucify me now. Whoa, TJ, the secret Ranger fan. I get it. I understand. I'm going to do Devils number 2. Yes, Devils 2. Carolina number 3. I'm going to say Washington's 4. Washington's 4. Islanders 5. Penguins 6. Blue Jackets set. Well, no, maybe.
I'll say Blue Jackets. I'll say Blue Jackets
7. Maybe the Flyers are 7.
Yeah, I hate.
And the Blue Jackets are 8.
I don't want the Flyers anywhere near the playoffs.
I don't think they will be. What happens if Pittsburgh surprises? The only thing about Sorokin battling is
the only thing Sorokin's battling is the shitty defense in front of him.
I like that one, Alex.
I mean, the only thing I'll say about Pittsburgh, does it matter if they make the playoffs? No.
I think it matters to the guys like Crosby's and the Malkins.
Okay, but I'm just saying, are they a threat to win a Stanley Cup? No, they're not. they're in the same boat as Washington, the Islanders, Detroit, Buffalo, with Ottawa. I mean, Tampa. I mean, those teams are not winning a cup. They're just not. And, I just don't like the direction of the team. I think it would be better for Washington to make the playoffs because you've already seen them to make the transition. I think it would help them along. Buffalo would help being a young team. Detroit, yes. Ottawa, yes. But, Pittsburgh and the Islanders making the playoffs, and even Tampa. If Tampa doesn't make the playoffs, like, well, okay. I mean, they're not going to win a Stanley Cup anyway. It doesn't matter. They're on the downside. It is what it is.
Yep. And Grump, we got a few comments here. Pony Curtis said here, what will be the narrative from Lou and the head office at the beginning of the year? If we struggle, what do you think the narrative is going to? Let's say Sorokin misses time at the beginning of the year and we struggle.
You can't fire the head coach. That's not in Lou's purview. He's not going anywhere. Maybe Lou steps aside and Wah goes right up to the front office and he hires his buddy as the new head coach.
Okay.
I mean that's possible.
The narrative from Lou will be, we've got a strong core and we need to trust in them. We've seen what this core can do when everybody's healthy and things are working well. And we believe that this team is good enough to win a Stanley Cup with the right coach like Patrick Waugh in here. We're going to win a Stanley Cup. That's going to be their slant.
What I would like to see is, particularly if we come off and we're just scuffling around, maybe contending for a playoff spot, just come out and say, you know what? That we've gone as far as we can with this group.
Okay.
It's time for us to, move some guys out and build for the future. That's what I'd like to see.
He won't do that. But anyway, so we're going to run through comments here quickly because we'll have about 15 minutes before I'm going to have to hop here. Freedom Fund Adventure says here, I'm 1,000,000,000% confident in Sorokin. I like the confidence there. David DeJesu says here, why come out now regarding Sorokin a few weeks before the start of the season? Not rectify the problem before, only in Islanders land. Maybe they already tried to, and it's still bothering him because they beat the living shit out of this part of his body during the season last year. Maybe that's the only thing I can think has happened.
Or they had a secret surgery or something at the end of the year, and he's not bouncing back as fast as possible. They thought he'd be ready for training camp, so we could just sweep it under the rug. We don't have to talk about it. But now it's come out.
They would talk about it at the beginning of the season, like I was battling an injury last year and I had to have something cleaned up. Knees would be like that, but it wouldn't take 4 months to recover from like a knee scope. Had them before 3, so it doesn't take 4 months to do that. Yeah, something bad. It doesn't mean something good. This is not a good thing. Because I think he'll miss time at the beginning. Now you've sold me. He's missing time at the beginning of the year, Grumpy. Anyway, Ponyboy Curtis says here, Grumpy, what's your favorite rap song?
I don't have one.
David,
so many. Too many to pick.
David the Jesse Grump.
I'd rather tank and get a high draft pick, but it will not happen.
Yep.
Me too.
Deacon in the ECHL has an 889 save percentage. Askarov was available. Really? The goalie Askarov was available for trade?
Yeah, he got moved.
What did he get moved for?
I don't remember. He got moved for something.
Oh, man. Dallas McDonald.
In a salary cap world, you might want to hide an injury in case you want to make a trade. That's the only thing I can think of. Okay, but he's not going. He's got a no-move clause in his contract now.
Askarov was traded really quickly to the San Jose Sharks for like nothing.
Yeah.
It was like a few weeks ago. Nolan Burke and a 2025 third-round pick. Is that a joke?
No.
I'm not a fan of that move by Barry Trotz. My God. Askarov is like, you know what I mean? Like, again, I get it. You got Saros. He's a 22-year-old young goalie who has been great in the AHL. He was the 11th overall pick, and you gave him away for a freaking bag of pucks. Not a fan of that. Anyway, okay, moving along here. If he was injured and we rode him down the stretch and had him play game 3, that would be a terrible look for the organization. Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? I wonder. That's the only thing I can think. Why else would they not be commenting on this? We're not going to comment out of respect for Lou Lamoriello. You couldn't just say, yeah, my guy's healthy. He must not be healthy. Again, it didn't sound like he rolled his ankle in the offseason and he's been nagging with a nagging rolled ankle or anything like that. I'm voting for Grumpy in November. Yeah! Yeah, there it is. There, Flex Crew. I love it. Lou's got to go. 62 years old and
82 years old.
82 years old. Yeah, 62 would be nice for him. 82 years old and running the show. Our owners are dopey. I don't know.
They might be bashful and sleepy and happy too.
Tony Carter says here, TJ, stop saying you cover all other sports. Y'all don't cover cricket or skateboarding. Stop the lies. We cover like Formula One. If somebody brings it up and wants us to talk about it, we'll cover it. I mean, we're not going to cover like people. I couldn't even tell you. I don't know much about skateboarding, but I'd watch it. I mean, like we're. Anyway, moving along here, Grumpy. If it was serious, the Islanders would have picked up Askarov.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe Barry Trotz doesn't want to trade with Lou Lamoriello, even though he figured he could have gotten Nelson for him.
I don't.
Okay, you're not making a trade for a goal like that after you just signed Sorokin to an 8-year extension.
That's correct, because this guy's a young goalie who's going to want time. He's going to want minutes. He's going to want to play. I mean, like that's you have
Varlamov for 3 more years. You got Varlamov for 3 more years.
That's correct. It's not like, what are you going to do? You're going to say, here you go, Askarov. If you're going to be sitting there in Bridgeport for, however many other additional years, like 3 years, because you're not going to waive Harley. You can't house 3 goalies on the roster. But yeah, I'm looking at the trade. It was for Askarov and a 3rd round pick, for Nolan Burke, with a second rounder, David Enstrom, and a conditional 2025 first rounder. So I don't know. Looks like a lot of moving parts and pieces in that trade. But again, Askarov is obviously the most talented out of that group. Moving along here, Grump. If y'all had to speculate on how Sorokin got hurt in the offseason, how would you guess? My guess is ATV riding or jet skiing. I don't think it happened in the offseason. I think it was a hockey-related injury that happened last year, maybe towards the middle or the end of the season, and the Islanders just continued to use and abuse him. That's what I think it is.
Or it could be like TJ said earlier, when he was pushing cars up hills.
Pulling the SUV with Shesterkin.
But the problem was that they left the parking brake on. So it was much
Oh man, that's right. Here we go. Jeff Sobel said it may very well be mental. That's true. Hasn't been the same since the overtime playoff goal up on 2023. Maybe that's why it's a secret. If it's mental, could be embarrassing. Could be. The way it just sounded, it's like a nagging injury. I wouldn't describe like he's dealing with, like, if I was talking about mental, it'd be like, yeah, he's dealing with a few things right now that he's working on. I don't think Elliot Friedman would be bringing that up, but I think it's nagging injury that I wouldn't describe like if I was having a mental, like I was mentally, like I wasn't all there. I mentally wasn't prepared or not happy with where I was. I wouldn't be like it's a nagging injury, if that makes sense. What's up, Alexander? What's up, Wicked 50 Cal? Hopefully you guys are doing well there. Rich C says here, what he did in that hallway was pretty embarrassing. An 8-year-old could have handled that better. What are we talking about there?
I don't know.
Hoping you were going to know what that was.
No. Maybe it was in some other comment that you ignored.
No, maybe this was like Lou Lamoriello when he sat there and watched all the people he fired leave that hallway and he'd take the elevator ride down. I don't know. Anyway, Marcus Holberg could be serviceable backup. He went 21-8 for the Limp Pop. What is that? Limp. How do you pronounce that, Grumpy? Some form.
Linköping's head hockey club of the Swedish Hockey League last season, is a veteran of 42 NHL games with the Ottawa Senators.
They're gonna ride. Varlamov.
Okay, but you'd need to get a backup. If he's injured and actually misses time, you're gonna need to get yourself a veteran backup. You will.
I don't know. How are we gonna fit?
You don't know.
How are you gonna fit that into the cap?
Maybe he goes on long-term injury.
That'd be about the worst case scenario for the Islanders. Sorokin's, we sign another goalie to a one-way contract, and Sorokin goes on long-term injury to start the year. Oh my God. Yeah.
You got $8 million to play with.
Oh my gosh. Let's look here. Okay.
I don't know how much they pay in the Swedish Elite League.
I don't know. Real Deal Prime does agree. Katie Ledecky should be in the pond, swimming around, catching the hockey pucks like a dolphin. Grumpy, that's what that is. That's what the emojis mean. She's on board.
I think it'd be great.
Christy Brinkley. Who's that?
You don't know who Christy Brinkley is?
No, is that like it may be somebody from Saved by the Bell? Am I right?
No. She was a supermodel, married to Billy Joel. She's got to be close to 70 now. She's still
State of Survival says Taylor Swift is an Islander fan. She was wearing our jersey. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Frank says, I will
Maybe her Chiefs jersey was in the wash.
Frank says also, I'll say this. Don't be shocked if Sorokin is having a mental issue because he looked completely defeated mentally. Don't dismiss that at all. Yeah, maybe. This, happens a lot in sports. I think he never recovered from the Carolina series in 2023. He may never bounce back. He gave up some god-awful goals last season. He didn't display that headstrong attitude at all. Just the way Elliot Freeman described it as a nagging injury, that does not scream like, hey, I'm dealing mentally, I'm not in the right space. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds more physical to me.
He wants to get physical. Gonna get physical.
But at this point, it could be really anything. Something that's seriously, it's a nagging injury. It's still bothering him now. I just hope he doesn't miss time at the beginning of the season. That's all I'm going to say on that.
I agree.
Oh my God. Dallas McDonald said, my wife is happy again. Bailey's back again. Oh my gosh.
Freaking Bailey.
No.
Bailey. Why he hangs around the cul-de-sac. They knew they'd call him back to do commercials for, what was it, Norwalk? Northwell.
Dave Johnson.
We used to have Carol Alt as a celeb fan back in the Yashin days. She was another supermodel type, even though Howard Stern said she was not a supermodel. I beg to differ. I think she was.
I don't know who that is either. David Jesse also says, yep, Christy Brinkley is an Islander fan. Billy Joel is an Islander fan, but is neutral because he plays at MSG.
That's fair.
What? Okay.
Do you even know who Billy Joel is?
The Piano Man. Sing us a song of the Piano Man. Yeah. Can
you name any other song that he sang? Anyone?
Something about paradise? I don't know. I don't really know. Billy Joel sings songs. He plays the fucking piano. He's a music man. I don't know what else to tell you. He's a musician. Musician. That's it.
So if you had to name two Billy Joel songs, you could not do it.
Okay. Piano Man.
You already mentioned that one.
Friday morning, Saturday morning, something like that. He says a morning song, right?
No.
Oh, yeah. I don't know then.
What a loser. Go ahead.
I don't care about Billy Joel. I don't care about musicians, Grump. Anyway, not impossible. Okay, so a lot of people are thinking, yeah, maybe it could be mental. It could. Just the way he describes it, Elliot Freeman, that makes me think it's not a mental issue. It's a nagging injury.
It's not mental. It's not mental.
Yeah. Funny what Curtis says here.
TJ, even if your pops is watching the tube, you crying about it every 15 seconds does negative things for our viewing pleasure. Stop the elder abuse. Absolutely.
Just let them watch the TV. Is that what we should do?
Dude, I'm not watching the TV.
Anyway.
You're irrational.
Skinny Scug, whatever that is. Linkin Park is back, TJ.
You know who Linkin Park is?
You know who Linkin Park is.
Can you name any of their songs? Any of them?
I don't know fucking songs. Come on. All righty. Yeah, we did start early this week. Yep. La Muerta is more secretive about day-to-day operations than Scientologists are about Scientology.
That's true.
Freedom from Russia says, TJ, that is a Phil's a fiction or Baffy level conspiracy theory. Sorokin, his agent, and the NHLPA could have and would have stopped the Islanders from forcing Sorokin to play injured. The NHL would come down very heavy. Okay, here's the thing. If the guy's asking to play, they're going to play him. And
roll him out there.
Exactly. Some guys want to do it. It's like the same thing. Like when guys get concussions, they still want to go out there and play football, but they have to have something like, no, you're not able to play. If this is not something like that, where it's like you're injured, it could affect you more a little bit.
Independent doctor, not affiliated with the team. So, and here's the thing. If you're a big star, you walk in that blue tent on one end, you walk right out the back end and back on the field. They don't give two shits. They could care less about the health of the players.
Yeah,
they do not care about the health of the players. Anytime they tell you, if they're saying to your face, we care about the health of the players,
that's a lie.
No, they're lying.
That's been confirmed a lie. Freedom Fighter says, do you guys remember how many teams used to run over Franz Nielsen? and run Islanders goalies when the Islanders had no toughness. Yep, all the time. That shortened several guys' careers. Get ready. You're going to see that again this year, probably.
I think it's safe to say that this is Freedom Fun Adventure has been pushing this narrative all off season, and he will continue to push this all during the season.
Yep. He's not wrong though, right?
No.
Buffalo Pete says here, what old-timer Islander will fit best in the Islanders' current system?
Thomas Hickey, a panty waist defenseman who plays no defense. Josh Bailey, guy who's unable to score. Fits right in.
Yeah. I don't know. I like a serious answer though. Who do you think from old-timer Islander that would work well in the system?
Miroslav Satan. I don't know.
I would say Potvin.
Potvin fits in any system. Some guys fit in any system. Okay. When you're great, you fit in any system. All right. You are the system. I don't even know what Patrick Watt's system is, honestly. With this group, you can only do so many things.
Yeah. Okay. Jeez. Okay. Let's continue there. LaFontaine. Okay. Is what Curtis said here. Mayfield, I think, is overpaid. I hate seeing Josh Bailey, says Freedom Fun Adventure. What a bum. What is this? A couple good seasons, but never played defense, rarely played hard, refused to check, but fans like him because he gave them pucks he didn't buy. He stole money. Yeah.
I disagree with Scott on that about Scott.
I think that's kind of funny.
I hate watching Josh Bailey. Okay. I thought you were talking about Scott Mayfield. Yeah, that's true. Never played any defense, never played hard. Absolutely was allergic to wood. So
it's like Matty Martz. How many free pucks to the games that we saw? Matty Martz is like throwing all the free pucks to the fans. That's fan favorite.
There you go, fan favorite. Here's a puck. You get a puck. You get a puck. Everybody gets
Oprah Winfrey with cars.
That's right.
Will Kyle Clutterbuck grow the mustache back when he's off a loose payroll? Real talk, or will who's it? Grow his hair back? Oh, will Matt Martin grow his hair back?
Yes and yes.
Okay, good enough.
I bet you he's already got a mane on him, and Clutterbuck has a beard down to his neck.
Curtis said here, let's be real. Freeman was honest about something that Lou didn't sign off on. He'd wake up with a horse's head in his bed. I do agree with that.
Okay.
Yep.
Lou Murta, live and well.
Here you go, Grumpy. Freedom Fun Adventure.
Sunnex living high off the proceeds from this show, but can't be bothered to show up for work because he knows his mommy won't let daddy fire him. Boy needs discipline before he goes Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, freaking X per the usual.
4 inches pile. 4 inches.
Freedom Fun Adventure, Grump.
Damn it, Grump. No more Phil. TJ, you lazy bastard, took some time to book real guests. Stop talking to your boyfriend on the phone and use time to book your
I haven't talked to Phil in a while.
I talked to him yesterday.
Yesterday.
He called me yesterday.
Oh. George Pace says here, can you define success for this season? Success is winning the cup. Anything else isn't. Success for this team, my expectation for this team is if they don't sell success for this year is selling off Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri and not re-signing him back. Anything else that happens on the ice is icing on the cake. That's success for the franchise. But the fan base are going to want to see playoffs or nothing. But success of an actual organization for the NHL is winning a Stanley Cup. That's success. Or getting to a finals. That's success.
Or for your young team that's, on the come, making the playoffs, winning a round or two, that's success.
For like Columbus, if they made the postseason, or Buffalo or Detroit, them making the postseason, that's success.
And
the
winning
Islanders,
a round.
Yep, the Islanders never making the postseason year in, year out and getting bounced in the first round. Doing that again this year is not success.
With an older team.
In terms of independent Islander coverage, how do you fare, or how do you view, or how do you fare out in terms of listens and views? I don't really know. I really don't keep track of that stuff anymore. I used to care about it, but I'm like, man, I don't really care about that anymore. I'm sure, people listen. We just like talking and shooting shit, and that's about it. Mr. B, Grumpy said, didn't Sorokin have a child last year? If he did, training and priorities were probably, maybe a little off kilter. Maybe he says shift, but maybe shitty is what he meant to say.
No, his priorities would probably shift.
Oh, okay, gotcha. You're right. A year in, he'd probably be back to his 2022 version this season. Yeah.
You can speak to that. You were a much better host before you had Baby Liza.
Yeah, that's true. The podcast is an all-time low now. Is that what you're going to say? You're going to blame Baby Liza for that one, Grumpy? Do I have to let the lovely page know that?
I'm blaming you. No one else but
There
you.
it is. Okay. Thomas A. Grumpy.
Good evening, gents. Hope all is well. Do you think the Islanders will offer anyone of significance a PTO? Addison was the hot name I heard earlier. I don't think they're going to do. I don't think they have the money to offer anyone anything.
Yeah. Don't have the cap space.
They're going to have to move someone off the roster. Probably going to be Wallstrom.
Dallas McDonald says here, make a trade for a short-term goalie until Sorokin returns. I didn't mean that they were trading Sorokin. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, they may I don't know what they're gonna do. What's the severity of the injury? But Lou's probably
what injury? Who knows?
Lou's operating in the background. But I'll tell you this much: if you see us sign a goalie or sign some other random goalie,
That's
A, B, or C, say, "Oh, Sorokin's missing time," is what that means at the beginning of the season.
Agreed.
Yeah, I once played a goalie at a very high level, 17 straight games. Next one, everything was off, and I was terrible. I was pulled early. No explanation. Body was great. Took me a few weeks to return to form.
Took me a week to return to form.
Took me a week to return to form. Goalies are that way. Yeah. How do you not know who Billy Joel is? He sings a song, Piano Man. Saturday morning. Oh, mention Saturday morning is in a song's Captain Jack. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying. I don't do any of the media stuff, and I don't care about the media. I don't like the people who sing, and I don't like movie stars. What can I say? You go. Freedom, fun, and adventure.
Doesn't like music, doesn't like movies, doesn't like TV, doesn't like anything.
I like sports.
Okay, that's, let's get back to the other question about not having any happy memories. I don't think it's possible for you to have a happy memory because you just refuse to let yourself do it. Freedom, fun, and adventure says, explain this. If Why is gaining power, think he has input. Why was
I don't know what that is.
promoted and Albaline hired to the coaching staff? No more former.
Why were these two ex-Devils brought to the staff promoted?
I didn't say that Lou has no power.
Hey, Grumpy, put up a Curtis.
Boy, who's your favorite pro golfers? Grump, if I had to guess, you like John Daly. No, when I was a kid, my favorite was Tom Weiskopf when I was a kid. Because he had, he always came in second to Jack Nicklaus.
It's Saturday night, so it wasn't far off. So he sings a song Saturday night. Billy Joel?
No, well,
Saturday night done right.
No, I knew that's what you were thinking. That's Elton John. Now they did do a concert series with Elton John and Billy Joel, went around the country touring in stadiums a long time ago now.
Yeah, and getting back there to favorite golfer, I don't really watch golf.
I think Billy Joel sang Crocodile Rock too. You know that song?
No.
Okay.
Buffalo Pete says here, would you rather have Shane Prince or Alan Quine back in the lineup? Best players ever. Shane Prince, right? Over Alan Quine?
Yeah, sure.
State of Survival says here, it's like picking between which healthy scratch do you want. State of Survival says your prediction: Kyle Clutterbuck and Matt Martin will play on the Islanders this year. Something will happen with injuries, and the team will Radek Martinick them and sign these guys for the rest of the season. Oh God,
Radek Martinick is probably a guy who'd be perfect.
We have Hogberg already, says State of Survival. That is it. Sorokin is missing time. It's been fucking confirmed. They brought in this guy, this vet from the Swedish Elite League, who's going to be the backup to Varlamov. And I guarantee you, Sorokin is missing time at the beginning of the season. Mark this down. Sorokin's missing time at the beginning of the season. Mark it down now.
I did know that, by the way. Phil
you knew that this Hogberg fellow's there?
Phil told me that. Phil told me that. But when Phil tells me stuff and he asks me,
you don't know if you can believe him because sometimes he lies. You gotta be
no,
careful.
he knows certain things. He knows certain things. Remember, he doesn't have a life.
Hogberg. Who is this guy? Marcus Hogberg. Yeah. How old is this guy, too?
He went to Hogwarts College.
He's 29 years old. Hogberg. What's his contract, Grumpy? Can you pull up his contract?
I cannot. We don't have cap friendly, so I can't do that.
They signed him to a 2-year, $1.5 million contract.
Oh,
is it a 2-way or a 1-way deal? That's the real question.
It's got to be 2-way. There's no way it could be 1-way. You got Varlamov and Sorokin if he ever comes back from whatever injury he's got, and then Hogberg.
The Hogburger. I don't know. God, somebody let me know if he gets this is a one-way or two-way deal. You're right, because this sports track shit, tough for me to tell. Oh, it's a two-way contract. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. It's guaranteed. Okay. His contract includes $550K guaranteed next season with a split between NHL and minors. Okay, gotcha. So he'll be two-way. That is, here goes. Sorokin is absolutely hurt. He's going to miss time at the beginning of next year. And Hogberg is going to be your backup. Varley's going to be your starter day one. Sorokin's missing time, and I've schizo spiraled to where Sorokin is missing time next year. Okay, we got to wrap this up. I'm 15 minutes over. Okay, conspiracy theory. Sorokin was pushing the SUV, and Igor turned it on and ran him over. Sorokin to help the Rangers out in the standings. Totally something TJ's team would do.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. 2 in there. Me being a Ranger fan. Anyway, I'm missing Marty Reasoner right about now.
Wow,
Okay.
Marty Reasoner's voice, the main day blast from
Read in front of Venture, Grumpy.
Grumpy, you notice how when TJ can't pronounce something, he either asks you to pronounce it or he panics and just says something that isn't even possible with the letters that are there.
I just kind of free ball. Like, yeah, I can't read this.
Yeah, I mean, I had to call him out of one. He just read, 2 weeks ago, he read a comment that none of the words he read were in the comment.
I was free balling. I just looked at your comment and said, I'm just going to put it in my own words. Read in front of Venture said, TJ, did you move to a city you live in now due to the lovely Doc Page's job? No. Anyway, Grumpy, let's wrap things up here. Grumpy, what do you want to say before we end the show today?
Rick Canane had a comment, not listening to you. I'm half mental, so I know how he feels. I don't even know what he's talking about. I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't. We will probably do a short show next Saturday. We will definitely not do one 2 weeks from tonight, though.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you so much, everybody, from watching the show here today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. That's why you got to, again, if you aren't already, got to make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Like the video. When you subscribe, you'll know when we go on.
Hit the notification bell so you get notified.
Ding, ding, and notification bell, because, next week is going to be whenever my wife wakes up, we're going to jump on for a quick hour. Thanks so much, guys, for watching the show. Thank you, Grumpy. We'll see you guys next Saturday.
TJ and the Grumpy Old Man tomorrow night.
Well, not tomorrow night. Again, it's whenever the lovely page gets up. So it's going to be, got to make sure you subscribe to that one too. Anyway, Grumpy, see you later. Thanks so much, guys.